Alright, welcome to the second episode of Trash Talk. This is about UFC 261. We'll just jump right into it because I don't have time for bullshit. Na Liang versus Ariane Carnelossi. Man, they. I guess to start, they came out ready to go. And I don't know if the crowd had much to do with that. It definitely seems like that. Who knows? That could be just the Chinese being excited to come over and fight. I don't know. They were pumped and ready to go. This was a war, and it was a great start to the night too. And it was a short war, but it was amazing. There was a lot of. It looked like Liang was winning in the beginning. She was really coming at her, super aggressive, tougher than she looks. Great transitions on both sides. That Carnelossi though was super powerful. She's just very powerful, and you can tell when you look at her. She looked jacked. I don't know how she made it through USADA, but okay, sure. But whatever. The other girl. I don't know that her gas tank is weak or the trip from China, what have you. It doesn't matter. She couldn't keep up with her, and maybe just having to deal with a tank of a woman like that. She's so powerful that it would take a lot to slow her down. So that's how it went down, And whatever, good fight, fun way to start the night. The crowd is a mixed blessing. It's exciting when they cheer. It's annoying when they boo. I always get into the crowd aspect of it. I guess it was weird at first. It's wow, weird crowd. It's just the noise and everything. It was strange to hear again after so long. In some ways it was kind of nice. In other ways, not so much. I'm more of a purist. I just like the fights. I don't really care about all that nonsense. But it is exciting when you a big hit or whatever happens, a big move happens, and then they cheer, and that's cool. And when their names are being announced, they cheer or they boo is fine. I don't mind booing then so much. You could say, oh, they booed the Chinese because they're Chinese, whatever. They really only did that to Zhang Weili anyways, but just thought that was a bit strange, but whatever. I hate the woos. The woos they can fuck off as far as I'm concerned. It's stupid, and they're just a bunch of fucking retards doing that. The fuck Jake Paul's I don't care. Why are you here? Go watch the fight. Shut up. Whatever. I've been to a live event. I'm not a big fan. I'd rather watch it on my TV. Thank you. But I'm also a purist. I'm like Luke Thomas in that regard. I like the science of it. I want to watch the fight. I generally don't watch it with people. When I do, I feel like I've missed out because I'm too busy. Because my friends are casual, so when I do watch with them, I'm sitting there explaining the fights to them, and it's just I just want to watch it, enjoy it, and be wowed and whatever, or bored or whatever. But I don't want to explain the fight to somebody as it's happening. So that's my take on it. It was interesting. It was kind of cool, but I could live without it. Like I said, it's fun sometimes. Moving on to the next fight. I'm not even gonna try Qi Lang. I'm not even try the first name I guess I will try and Jeff Molina. That could have been fight of the night. I don't know. I honestly don't know what is fight of the night. What was fight of the night? I don't really give a shit. That was a good fight though. It was a tough one. That Qi Lang guy is tough as hell. He was getting pieced up pretty bad, and it was and Molina was super technical. He really put it on him, and it was an all-out war. Molina should have. That Qi Lang guy had him in the beginning, and it was because I think he's just a tough guy, and Molina took a minute to shake it out, kind of oh, what the hell am I doing? But once he started putting it on, man, he didn't stop. It was the rest of the night for that guy was just getting pieced up, and it got a little, I can't remember if that one was any judging issues with it. I know the right guy won, so it doesn't really matter, but whatever. Next one, another name, That's a fun one. Batgirl, the Mongolian murderer or whatever. No, that was actually a Chinese guy that had that name, which is a little strange. But whatever. He's the actual Mongolian. I don't remember what his name is, or his nickname. And Kevin Natividad. I barely even remember this fight. All I know is just it was a brutal knockout, and that's all I remember. Honestly, I don't know why. There was so much going on that night that I went kind of slipped my mind. So I should just move on from that one because I don't have anything to say. I do remember this one though, that Kazuya Vargas against Rongju, and I would just like to say that that guy's nickname should be Right Foot, just because I'm a dork. But come on, Right Foot Rongju, that would be amazing. If he was in America, he would have that nickname. Just saying. It was a super close fight. I was that Rongju guy. I mean, he's obviously he has some star qualities. He certainly acted like he had star qualities. He thought he was doing better than he was. He was. He probably might even be better than he was that night, but he didn't do it. You just because you think you're better or you think you're not getting hurt, you still have to actually prove it. You got to show your work, and he didn't. He's like jumping to the fucking answer, and it's like, no, we need to see you actually show that you are awesome. And he may very well be, but he wasn't that night. It was a close fight, but it was clearly bad judging, very sketchy judging. It was the right decision though, so you can kind of let it go. That's the thing. Too often the right decision happens, but the judging is still poor, and that's a problem. Like when you in the next fight, in the first fight of the prelims, it's a prime example. You got Pat Sabatini against Christian Connolly. Now, Sabatini clearly won the first two rounds. You might even say one or even potentially both were 10-8s. I mean, he mauled him. He's incredibly good on the ground. His transitions were amazing. He had him wrapped up constantly for basically 2 full rounds. Credit to Connolly, he didn't get subbed. He was close on a few occasions, and he hung in there. And this decision was terrible. Yeah, I mean, it was the right decision, but they gave Sabatini off 3 rounds. I mean, that's ridiculous. Connolly came back in the third, and he was winning that round easy, handily. I mean, it wasn't even close. I mean, like the last fight, but judging was a little sketchy, but it was a close fight, and this was not a close fight. Sabatini clearly won the fight, and so they got that right. But he was given 30-27. I'm like, he did not win the last round. And I don't think all the judges, but one judge did. I mean, but that's enough. Like, one judge clearly was either A, wasn't watching the fight, B, has no clue what he's doing. And it's just like, that's a problem. Like, yeah, the right decision came through in the end of the day, but that guy's going to go on to judge another fight. And his decision could be the one that goes wrong. It's like, these guys, they need to be fired. Like, you have it way wrong. There's no way he won the third round. I don't care if you gave Sabatini 10-8s in the first 2, maybe even one of them. I don't know. I don't care. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. And he did win the fight, but he did not win the last round. And you gave him the last round. And that is robbery. That is wrong. It's incorrect. And though it didn't affect anybody in the end of the day, it does affect the fact that you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you're going to judge other fights. And one day your decision might make a difference. Fortunately, it didn't make a difference this time, but that's a problem for me. So, you know what? Like, get your shit together. So, yeah, anyways, moving on. Carl Robertson versus Brendan Allen. This was a super fun fight. I mean, Carl Robertson's pretty good stand-up. Brendan Allen actually a pretty good stand-up. I was a bit surprised. He's kind of known more as a grappler. But he was trading pretty good. I mean, he's got a hell of a chin because he took some shots that were like, whoa, and he just kept coming. Like, he didn't even phase him. That's probably more a sign of youth. I don't know if that's gonna work out for you when you get older, or maybe, I don't know, the right guy hitting you, but, and Robertson can hit, so I mean, might be the right guy, but you know how sometimes just things don't quite connect. But either way, he took some hard shots, and that one was, I mean, he's a tough guy. And then that heel hook finish, like Jesus, that was, it's hard to see at first because they were really wrapped up with each other, but it's like, and I was like, how does he got that? It was almost looking more like a toe hold at some points, and I'm like, and I'm not an expert in jiu-jitsu, so bear with me on that. But I was like, how does that knee, like, it's not a knee bar, so it's like, it's a heel hook, but his leg was really bent. Usually you're kind of okay, but after I saw the replay, I was like, oh yeah, the heel hook, you could see the torque on the knee joint, even though his leg was bent. It was pretty nasty. So, yeah, good on him. I mean, that was brutal. And I mean, he tapped quick, which makes me, that's the thing with knee stuff with the knees, or when they go, they go. It's like, if you don't tap quick enough, you could be seriously injured. So hopefully he's okay, but we'll see. And yeah, next fight this is where it mattered. The judging really mattered. Dwight Grant and versus Stefan Sekulik. Yeah. Pardon the pronunciation on that one. Yeah, I'd say Stefan got robbed. He was, I think he won that fight. I mean, it was close, I guess, but it looked pretty clear to me that he won that fight. I guess at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing ever, but. And they're two kind of nobodies in a sense, like, nobody's. It's the first time I've seen that Stefan guy, and that Dwight Grant looks, I don't know. It doesn't look like he's going anywhere. He's pretty terrible on the ground, and I don't think he's young enough or skilled enough to change that now. Some pretty good stand-up moments, but I mean, I think he lost that fight pretty handily. I mean, I have to go back and look at it to really judge it per se, but I didn't think it was a good decision at all. So, anyways. I guess it doesn't matter because who cares about those two guys, right? And then we get to Cowboy versus Randy Brown. This was a fun one. I mean, this whole card was pretty fun. Like, it was pretty crazy night for fights. It was all action right out the gate. I mean, Randy Brown was gigantic for that weight class. I mean, he was way bigger than Oliveira. Like, it wasn't even close. And then that one arm rear naked choke was sick. Like, I've never seen anything quite like that. I mean, I've seen close, and they usually get an arm in there and then they finish it. Like, but he finished it that way. I was like, Jesus, that's insane. So good on him. Look forward to seeing him fight somebody maybe a little higher up the ladder next. And onto the main card, the craziest fucking main card I think I may have ever seen. Anthony Smith versus Jimmy Crute. This one I was kind of looking forward to. I really like this one because Jimmy Crute's an up-and-coming, kind of, not necessarily a star, but he's a fun fighter for sure. Anthony Smith, something about him I like. I know he's kind of a journeyman and he's been doing it forever, and he's actually still pretty young, which is crazy. He's got a ton of fights, and that's basically, he's like the definition of a journeyman. So it was interesting to see. He was getting, I'd say he's getting, I don't know if he's getting pieced up. I think he lost the first round, and I think he was kind of outworked. He was putting a jab out there pretty good, but I don't know if that was really going to get it done against Crute. But at the end, I mean, when he kicked that leg and his leg went out, and we kicked him in the knee, like, it was a weird one too, because usually it's the low calf that gets that. That was like old school kind of right in the crook of the knee sort of leg kick, and those usually they just hurt, and they don't, or under volume they can fuck you up, and but that one really weird that it shut his leg off. I don't know how intentional that was, or was it just a fluke or what, but it was weird. I actually kind of thought for a moment, did he break it? Like, it's so weird when those go, that perennial nerve goes dead. Like, you looks like your ankle's broken or something. So that was a strange one. I mean, for sure. I do think, it was weird because like Jimmy I think he won the first round. but it doesn't matter, right? So whatever, can't. Should they have let him fight? I don't know. I mean, part of me says yes, part of me says no. Like, part of me's like, well, you can't really let a guy who can't walk fight, but at the same time, I don't think he's in any real danger. I mean, it's just the nerves kind of shut off. I don't think he's in danger of really hurting himself in that regard, but it does make him a target for sure, which could lead to a serious injury, I suppose. So in that sense, it's probably the right call. But I think that's a function of bad cornering. See, the thing with cornering is they rely on that, the cut man is like a medic, and the cut man's not a part of your team, they're employees of the UFC. Or are they a part of, I think they're employees of the UFC. I don't think they're commission employees. Pretty sure they're employees of the UFC. But they're just there for cuts and some swelling, like and that's just head swelling. They're not gonna do swelling on your knee or anything like that. That's on you, and they didn't really even address his leg. It's like, no, you guys need to like rub some feeling back into his foot. Like maybe if they had kind of massaged the nerve and maybe done a little nerve gliding, you know, on the scene as best you can, and maybe he would have got some feeling back, and he could have at least fooled the doctor enough to get into for trying to get a takedown. I mean, he took him down with one leg. Why couldn't he do it again? So I think that was some bad cornering on their part, but I mean, it's something you don't necessarily train for, but maybe now you will. Like, that's something like a pit crew needs to do. It's like, we need to fucking change the tires and do all that shit. But they should definitely look into like, no, we gotta train to make sure that, we know what to do in this situation, because that's a sucky way to lose. Because I think now I don't know this, but if they could have got his foot working again, they might have won that fight. A very good chance. And I think Anthony Smith is lucky that it went down the way it was, because it looked like he was going to lose. So he was definitely losing that first round. I mean, you could argue he almost finished him in that first round. So lucky Anthony Smith, really unlucky Jimmy Crute, But I think the UFC recognizes what happened there, and they're going to give Jimmy Crute another shot at whomever, like top 10 type thing, because we need to see him fight some more top 10 type people, because I think he's that good. So, looking forward to that. Now, this is the crazy one. Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman. I wrote in my notes, what the fuck? Like, seriously. It's super sad for Chris, but god damn it, that is fucked up. Like, how is that? Like, the first kick, and it's just like I think it's the first strike thrown in the fight. Like, that is horrifically, like, just, I mean, I don't mind watching stuff like that. I actually kind of, I'm a sick and twisted person. I don't get off on it per se, but I don't mind it at all. It makes me cringe, but I'm not gonna puke or anything. It's horrifying, especially when he takes the step back. It's like, people I've heard it said like this is the worst, when they take the step back. But I think when it happened to Anderson Silva, he actually didn't really take a step back. Like, he kind of just fell on his butt right away because he knew, and he was holding his leg up, and that was bad enough. And you could see as he fell on his ass, it flopping around. This was worse though. He took the step back, and it landed on the fucking, like, the stick of the bone, and it probably stabbed himself in the fucking calf with his own bone. Like, ugh, that's fuck. And then that's where you could see it on his face when you watch it in slow motion. That's when the pain hit. It was like, oh my god, what is going on? And yeah, I can't even imagine. Like, ugh, just that would make me puke if it happened to me. I just feel for him, like, because I mean, honestly, he's probably at the end of his career. Maybe he can come back and fight a little bit. I don't know. Other than for a few bucks, I don't know why he would. It doesn't seem worth it to me. You're not going to be the guy you ever were. And from what I understand, he's had like 27 surgeries or something like that. No, this will be 28. It's just like, dude, you've been through the ringer. Like, I don't know, maybe you need it for the competitiveness of the money, but goddamn it, get out of the game. Like, fuck. And it was crazy, like, the levels of, it's like a weird karma thing. It's not like, he deserved it. I would never say that. I don't even think that remotely. But Anderson Silva, doing that on Chris, and Chris doing that to him, and then Uriah Hall at the end was like, You know, Chris Weidman was the first man to beat Anderson in the UFC, and he was the last man to beat him in the UFC. It's just, this is weird. I mean, it's all coincidence and bullshit, whatever, but it's just, it is creepy. And it's very strange. Anyways, whatever. Let's go on to Shevchenko Andrade. This was, I mean, she is so good. Like, she just crushed Andrade, like, ran through her and just took her to school on every level, took her to school on the feet, showed her how to fight. Basically showed her how to fight. Showed somebody who doesn't know how to fight. That's what it looked like. I'm going to maul you, I'm going to beat you up, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to you, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. And I'm not even going to break a sweat doing it, or fucking, I mean, did she even get hit? I don't even know. I mean, you just a beat down. And I don't, people say, oh, Lauren Murphy deserves it. Fuck Lauren Murphy. I don't give a shit about Lauren Murphy. And why do we need to just, if I'm Lauren Murphy, I'm like, no, give me 10 more fights so I can learn how to fight like that before I get in there, because I'm going to get fucking wrecked. Maybe she needs a payday, but other than that, as a challenger that loses, I don't think your payday's that great. Like, and I know Lauren Murphy's, I don't think she's that young, so time is, clock's ticking, but you're not ready for her. She will maul you and just destroy you. You have no chance against her. And we need to see Nunez again. Like, I think she won the second fight against Nunez. Even the first fight, I mean, it was super competitive. It wasn't like, I guess you could say, yeah, she lost, but it was very close. And the second one was even closer. And I and a lot of other people think Shevchenko won that fight. Doesn't really matter because she didn't win the fight, technically. But she certainly showed that she's capable of winning that fight. And if not now, more than ever. Because she just seems to be getting better and better. Or she's just showing more. I don't know, but she is exceptionally good. She might, I mean, I'm a fairly large man, and I'm not really particularly at all skilled in fighting at all. I mean, I've been in some fights when I was younger, but I'm not a fighter. I'm not a trained fighter. My size and strength would be enough to beat up most women. Even if, I could get strangled by one, it doesn't really matter. Whatever. Some chick jiu-jitsu's me and chokes me out. I'm sure that's more than possible. But I'm not afraid of that sort of situation. There are only a few women that scare me in terms of a fight. There's, Cyborg, Gabby Garcia, only because she's actually bigger than me and does have skills and is probably stronger than me. Though she's not quite human. Amanda Nunes, and maybe Shevchenko. She gets a little small. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could throw her across the room, but that doesn't mean I'd win in a fight. I think, it's funny, like, it'd be like, if you've ever seen Shaw and Dustin Poirier when they're little grapple session, which is just for fun, but it'd be like that. It'd be like, I lay on top of her and she'd be fucked. But at the same time, there's probably some shit you could pull from down there, so whatever. I had this argument with a friend of mine about whether I could beat up certain women in the UFC. Not that I beat up women, but he thinks they destroy me, and I think he's wrong. I just think my size and strength would overcome a lot of what they can do, particularly upper body strength. They're not going to compete. But when you get a few, like Amanda Nunes, I mean, she could probably knock me out easily. She could definitely jiu-jitsu me up, and she's not small. So, that would be a scary one. Same thing with Cyborg, and forget Gabby, she's barely even a woman. No offense, Gabby, but you're a freak. And you know you're a freak. And partially done to yourself, too. And it's not to say that's clean. You're not a clean athlete. It's not pretending that. So whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all silly talk. It's not like it's ever going to happen on any level. But that's just for a 125-pound girl, I mean, I know she cuts weight, but even still, she's going to be cutting 10 pounds. I mean, I could easily pick her up and throw her across the room with little difficulty. Assuming she didn't fight back, of course, right? Like, in terms of just power, like, she could probably barely even deadlift me. So, that's where I stand on that, is in terms of the strength to weight ratio would be pretty tough for her to overcome, but I think she might be able to do it. She's that good, and she's that skilled, so tribute to her. Next, Zhang Weili versus Rose. This is it's a weird one. I didn't know what to expect with this fight because Rose is weird. Like she looks like just a twig of a girl. Like I could probably throw her across the room with one arm. I wouldn't want to fight her husband though. So we're not gonna do that. But she is. I mean, I know her jiu-jitsu is great. Her striking is actually really great. I think, and it's only gotten better and better over the years. But she has power. Like it's weird. Like in that little body of hers, she doesn't just have power. Like it's weird power. It doesn't look. It doesn't even look like power. She just has the ability to shut the lights up. I don't know if that's accuracy or what, but I mean, the kick she put over Zhang's guard was pretty impressive. Like it just slipped right over her hand and just right in there, and right on the chin, and just cracked her. And I mean, that's impressive. Now, obviously, you intend to do that. How much of that is luck that it landed just the way you wanted it to, or I mean, I know she kind of baited her into it. I know that. I mean, I'm not an idiot, but it's weird. Like Zhang went to town with Joanna and went 5 rounds. Now I know Joanna doesn't hit hard. She doesn't generally knock people out. At least certainly not with one punch. She's definitely a volume striker. But Rose, I mean, she knocked out Joanna with I believe it was a punch, and this with a kick. I mean, and she can finish you on the ground. She's got good submissions. I mean, she is strangely exceptional. She looks like nothing. She looks like a stiff wind would knock her over, but god damn it, she is tough. I think in some ways, she's incredibly mentally strong and incredibly mentally weak at the same time. Like she really needs to be pumped up. Like with that whole I'm the best, she's really got this mantra thing, and it works for her, and that's great. And I think she needs that, but when she doesn't have it, I think she's kind of almost half retired there for a second, and kind of like, no, and then it's like she's fighting with herself. Like, what do you want to do? I know she's got some issues in the past and what have you, and some trauma, and whatever she's dealing with, is whatever, none of my fucking business. I only care about how she fights, and she's a world beater. She literally, you'd be people talking about her against Shevchenko, and I'm like, nah, let's slow it down a little bit. She's a little small for that weight class, and honestly, Rose could probably get to atom weight, even though they don't do that in the UFC, but if they did, she could probably get there. She is tiny. And even if, I mean, I'm sure she could fight Shevchenko, I'm sure she could go up in weight. Or just not cut weight. I mean, I don't know how much she cuts, if anything, or what, but I don't think she's, it's a funny thing, I'd say she doesn't have the power or the strength to hang with her, but fuck. Zhang is very similar to Shevchenko, and certainly body type and fitness level, athleticism. Fucking took her part in a minute, so I don't know. I don't think Zhang's stand-up is as good as Shevchenko's, mind you, but that is what it is. It's interesting, I guess. It's more interesting than I ever would have thought before. And I mean, I'd like to see her defend the belt a bit, but God, like who? I mean, I don't want to see her fight Joanna again. She beat her twice already. I have no interest in that fight. Like, who cares? And Joanna couldn't beat Zhang Weili, and I know some people think she won that fight. I disagree. I mean, you could say, oh, she outstruck her. Yeah, by what, 10 punches in 5 rounds? Who gives a shit? I mean, look at the size of her fucking head. She got fucking, like, damage matters, and she got beat up way worse. So, I totally think she legit lost that fight. I mean, she may have outstruck Zhang, but Zhang was hitting way harder, and she was eating them. I didn't think it was a particularly good fight on Joanna's part. She was there to be hit, and it's really not her style. She's usually not there to be hit and hitting you with volume. So she got the volume in, but she also took a lot. Took a lot of volume and a lot of power behind that, some of that volume, so. Rose is the one, and I'm interested in Mackenzie Dern and all that. That would actually be a really fun fight. I don't know if Mackenzie Dern deserves to be up at that level yet, but give her some fights, let's find out. But yeah, I don't know what's next. Rematch, you could argue the rematch thing, because it's like, sometimes when people say, oh, you get knocked out that easy, you shouldn't be able to go back and rematch. But in some ways, it's like, well, it's kind of like a lucky shot. It's not like, I know it's not luck, but at the same time, it's like, well, if that doesn't land that way and the fight goes on for 5 rounds, what happens? So I think there's some curiosity there, is that like, you got caught. It's not so much an unlucky, it's like, you got caught. What would happen if you don't get caught? Let's see that. So I think there's a bit of an argument for that. I'm not suggesting that that's the way to go. I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't mind seeing her getting her head kicked again. So who cares? That's fun. And the funny thing is, I think it's part of that is like no one takes Rose seriously. She's hard to take seriously. Like she looks like this little wave, and she's fucking deadly. But yeah, it's I don't know who's next for her. That's an interesting question. But you know what? I think she's kind of like, just give me anyone and I'll fuck him up. And I like that idea. Just give her anybody. Whoever's next in line, fucking do it. Give her Esparza. Esparza doesn't deserve it, and I hate watching her fight. But let her get that revenge fucking fight in. Let her, avenge that loss. Because I think she's nowhere in the same category. I don't think they're even close. But that'd be interesting. Anyways, on to the main event. Usman versus Masvidal, 1.5. Yeah, this one's, I didn't think Masvidal had a shot, really. Maybe he had a puncher's chance, maybe he'd piece him up and keep the distance, and Usman's too good a striker now, man. Trevor Whitman, that guy is a motherfucker. Like, Rose and him, and even Gagey and everything, it's just like, god damn it, this guy's a wizard with striking. He's turned him into quite the boxer, and he won on feet. He didn't even have to wrestle him, and he fucked him up. He's a motherfucker. Usman is the man right now, and people, the GOAT. I hate that. It's like, dude, let him fucking. You've got to defend the belt more than fucking 2 times to be called the GOAT. They were calling Woodley the GOAT. Like, fuck off. Woodley is like the worst of the 3 top welterweights, and now he's the worst of 4. So, Woodley was not that good. Don't take that the wrong way. Woodley was not. People make him out to be like this. Like they were literally talking GOAT talk. I'm like, excuse me, but GSP, he doesn't even come close to GSP, and I really don't think he comes all that close to Matt Hughes. Like, yeah, if you put him in a ring together, he's gonna beat Matt Hughes, especially now. But even prime Matt Hughes.